Welcome back to the Filthy Black Table. I put out a poll this week asking what people wanted to see: a new Filthy Black Table, a editorial, or a video game review, and everybody unanimously screamed Filthy Black Table. That's the only votes I got were for the Filthy Black Table. So here you guys go. I want to play some video games. I really want to play some video games right now. I have my Switch Lite here. I think I'm gonna play. I think I feel like playing The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. Sorry, Tears of the Kingdom. This is the sequel to Breath of the Wild. I haven't really played that much of this game yet, and you know, I'm kind of nervous going into this because it looks more complicated than Breath of the Wild. And you know, maybe before I actually pop it in and play, maybe I should read the game's instruction manual, and maybe it'll help clarify some of the story and the controls and there's overall things I can do in this game. Oh. Yeah, so modern games don't really come with manuals much anymore. And that's what I'm talking about today, is video game manuals. See these two little things here? These little little thing to hold something? These used to serve an actual purpose in game boxes. Other than holding DLC codes, they used to actually have a purpose. So oftentimes when I buy, this was a brand new copy of Tears of the Kingdom, by the way. I unwrapped this, opened it up, plop, nothing. There's nothing here. And that's common. Here's another modern game, Persona 3 Reload. I'm on PlayStation 5. Nothing. This is a DLC code for some Persona music. Other than that, nothing. This was also a brand new copy. And it's sad. I've noticed this for a long time. The art of video game manuals are gone. It's dead. It's a dead art form now. And this has been happening since, I think, a couple generations ago. Don't quote me on that, but I have some evidence here to back me up. But let's talk about video game manuals. So this is a video game. This is a Buffy the Vampire Slayer on the original Xbox. This is a video game-ass video game. You'd go into the store in the 2000s, you'd pick this up, bam. You were excited to play your brand new copy of Buffy the Vampire Slayer for the original Xbox, only on the original Xbox. Hell yeah. Your mom lets you buy it, you go up to the front, you check out, you're driving home, you have like a 20-minute drive on the way home, whatever it is from the store, and you're so excited to play Buffy the Vampire Slayer for the original Xbox. You love the show, you've been waiting to get this game, you've seen trailers for it, you open the box, oh man, what is this? This is a big, thick manual. So on the way home, you get to read the Buffy the Vampire Slayer manual, but contents, there's so much here. There's so much. Look, you get to read about the console, the controls, the menus. Look, there's options, there's, the basic stuff you need for a video game manual, of course. But then you start learning about, like, the characters and the enemies and the story and, oh man, and then there's usually like a little ad or something in the back, like there's something for the Buffy show or something. Oh no, it's the card game, it's the Buffy card game. But yeah, there's the show and DVD and stuff. It's like, yeah, it's like this was actually like something to like keep you occupied, to read and get a little more out of your game. And I doubt it cost EA absolutely pennies to print that paper. And that's just kind of gone now. Used to, back in the day, video game manuals served one purpose. Joust on the Atari 7800, this is the original manual. Notice it's much thinner than the Buffy manual. And its purpose was quite literally to teach you how to play. Sometimes they would include a little bit of the story, but usually it's like getting started, playing the game, scoring. That side of it was mainly just an actual guide to help you with the game, because games were so limited. You didn't have much in-game to tell you what was happening. The manual had to do a lot of the footwork for you, and that was going on for a very long time through like the Atari, the NES, hell, even like the Super Nintendo Genesis that happened. Here's Fatal Labyrinth. on the Genesis. You know, it's the same type of ordeal. This one I think does give you a little more. It is a little thicker, but you know, it's like here's the Harness Dragonia, and there is some story stuff, but mainly it's like controls and kind of explaining how the game works, how the combat works, what your screen shows. Like, you know, it's actually helping you understand how to play the game. That's what a video game manual was. It was necessary. It was necessary with these older titles because the games could not tell you in-game, you know, it couldn't easily convey. Now, something like Buffy, this is, you know, a while later, much more is happening in this game. It probably could tell you in the game how to play Buffy the Vampire Slayer. You didn't really need to read the manual, but the fact that it came with a manual and gave you more content, I think people really appreciate and really miss now. I know I do. Because I don't know, it gave you a little more of the game. And I have some other manuals here that I think justify the existence of manuals. Here's Echo the Dolphin for Dreamcast, Defender of the Future. And I just kind of wanted to show this one because I think this is like a manual that's multi-purposed. Jewel cases, I hate jewel cases, by the way. Most of them break. Like, watch, I'm going to open this and this thing's going to come apart. Yeah. But jewel cases actually use the manual as like the front cover a lot of the time. And it's still the manual, you know, it'll still teach you how to play Echo, how to get started, what the story is, you know, and it's handy to have in case you're stuck and you don't know, you know, what the songs do or what the gifts do in Echo the Dolphin. Also, it's trying to get you to buy Sonic Shuffle, which was not a good game. But yeah, it was multi-purposed, and exists, and I can't stress enough how much I hate jewel cases. Thank God we are not using these anymore for games, because I swear to God, like, most of my jewel cases just break. They sit on a shelf. How do they fucking break? What happens? But video game manuals actually have meaning still, even if you don't need them to understand the game. A lot of the times, they do help. Take a fighting game, for example. Tatsunoko vs. Capcom on the Wii. Now, the game itself does offer a training mode. You can experiment around, but it's nice to have this because, you know, there's startup guides, there's controls for how to play the game, blah, blah, blah. You know, the stuff you would expect for a game manual, but I think where a fighting game manual really comes in handy, and this thing is kind of beefy, I'm having trouble finding it, is here. They actually give you, like, spreads of the different characters. Like, oh man, I want to know how to play Mega Man Volnut, you know, and it actually gives you like a spread of like their special moves and like, you know, what's this guy from Onimusha do? You know, it's like, while you're playing, my boy Joe is here and I get to learn how to play as beautiful Joe. Like, a fighting game manual actually does serve purpose. Even in an age where the game can easily convey, this is much like easier to have by your side than just pausing the game and going and flipping to a menu, because it's here. I can play the game. I can look over and be like, okay, Joe uses this combination to do this move, and that's one way that I think game manuals are still relevant. Now, the time that I noticed game manuals starting to disappear was around like the beginning of like the 3DS era. I think the end of the PS3 360 era. You know, here's Fire Emblem Echoes. This is a lengthy RPG remake for the Nintendo 3DS of a Fire Emblem game that most people in the West probably have never played. There's a lot of systems and mechanics going on here, a lot of characters, a lot of lore. You know, this is prime for having a video game-ass manual that you can look at and easily learn about your game. You want to learn more about this game. So, let's learn about Fire Emblem Echoes. Oh. Yeah, so this is around the time I noticed this was happening. Nintendo started doing this. This is a manual on how to view the manual. This is viewing the game manual. To view the built-in instruction manual, tap the home button and labeled manual. Sorry, tap the button manual labeled manual on the home menu. It's a manual to explain how to get to the game's manual. Why did you need to do this? Why did you print this paper at all? What's the point? And I mean, look, it spreads out and there's all sorts of, like, what is this? This didn't need to happen. Why? No! I feel like this is a legal document, not a fucking manual. God, I've never been least excited to read something in my life. God, no. Okay, that's an example of how not to do it. Here's an example on how to do it. And this, I think having a good game manual in the modern age really makes games stand out because back in 2015, this game released on the Wii U, and it came with a big full-color manual, and I still think about that. This is a Shovel Knight. This is the physical version of Shovel Knight for the Wii U. I bought this when it came out, and I was very excited to play this, and yeah, look at this. This thing is fucking hefty. This is a thick fucking manual. It did come with stuff for the music too. I got the music on like Bandcamp or whatever. But yeah, look, and it's full color. And it tells you about the game, and it tells you about the characters, and it feels very premium. And this wasn't like a limited run. Like I know you can go on limited run games or those kind of like specialty sites and buy this stuff. No, this was a release at GameStop. This was a brand new game released for $30 at GameStop. And look how much care and attention was put into this game manual, and it really makes it like a treasure. No pun intended for Shovel Knight. It makes it a treasure for me. You know, like look, there's like stuff about the NPCs, little blurbs about the NPCs in the world. You know, there's stuff about the levels. There's stuff about the items. You know, like this felt, I don't know. It felt like it really expanded my experience when it came to playing the first Shovel Knight game. I really liked having this manual. I still really appreciate it. And honestly, in terms of like a retail game, not like a specialty item from a site like Limited Run, but an actual retail game, I don't know how many modern manuals have lived up to this, in my opinion. This is probably the last time I bought a brand new video game at launch and just had such a cool experience flipping through the manual. Also, manuals include notes. Did anybody ever use their notes sections in game manuals? Let me know in the comments. Yeah, so this was the last time this really happened. Fucking fantastic release. Good job, Yacht Club Games. I loved that. And there are some cases where manuals are still included. This is, you know, I was talking about Tears of the Kingdom earlier. This is Sakuna of Rice and Ruin, which I also bought it at GameStop. Here's a GameStop sticker. And you know what? They actually included a little manual in this one. And it's pretty beefy, but it's like tiny. And, you know, again, I can't imagine this cost them that much to produce, but it is nice to have this. And I don't think it's as nice as the Shovel Knight one, but it is full color. It is here. I can learn how to play Sakuna of Rice and Ruin. I don't know. And again, it just makes this purchase for me feel more premium. As you know, if I opened up and like this was empty, you know, I got some nice artwork here, but I don't even think Tears of the Kingdom had artwork, right? It was just white. Like this feels like something, and then I have the little booklet here, you know, and this feels complete. This feels like an actual worthy purchase. You know, this used to be the thing back in the day. I would take game manuals to school with me. You know, this is my original copy of the Sonic Mega Collection Plus. And I would take this to school with me. And, you know, I liked looking at the illustrations and reading about the games. You know, and that's something that I think is definitely lost. Of course, nowadays, you have your phone. Like, I know that's going to be the main defense, is like, why do you need a game manual? You can just look everything up. But I don't know. I feel like there's something lost, you know, with not having this anymore. Maybe it's just the way I grew up and the way that I played games, but you know, getting to flip through here and see all of the games included and see little illustrations of the Sonic characters, you know, this got me very excited whenever I was a kid. You know, I was very excited to like learn more about these classic games, and you know, sometimes I would even try to like trace or draw or copy the pictures and the game, different game manuals to try to like draw the characters. It was pretty cool. And look, now I know that there's seasons of Sonic X on DVD. But I saved the best for last because I really wanted to show off a game manual that I think took full advantage of being a game manual when it absolutely did not need to. Wario World for the original GameCube, a game by Treasure, a game from Nintendo. This game is not the most popular game in the world. It didn't have the biggest budget. It didn't have the biggest marketing. Wario World is a footnote in the GameCube's history. It's cool. I like it, but it's not a game that people look back on and say, "Wow, that was the GameCube." It's just a little release. But Treasure and Nintendo went all out on this manual. There is a story here, if you want to read the story. There's the controls, of course. And then you have little blurbs from Wario. Since I'm such a popular guy, even with my enemies tend to swarm around me, I gotta be careful, though. You see, he's like little things about Wario. Like, he's talking to you throughout the manual, giving you, like, tips and tricks, and I don't know, it, like, feels like he's experiencing the manual with you. Hey, don't look! This is mine! This treasure's mine! It feels like he's there with you, and throughout the whole manual experience. Very cool. But this manual gets even better as we go along. So yeah, we have Wario every few pages talking. There's a connectivity for WarioWare. But as we get near the back of the manual, we have our spread of like enemies and stuff, which I think is awesome. Then we have this page. See what makes me tick. It's just a spread of Wario's anatomy. And it gives you random shit to know. How much he weighs, his grip, his sight, his feet size, bladder, stomach, like, what? No, look, he's got no cavities. I don't buy that one. But this didn't need to be here. But they did it. And I still think about this. I still think about this all the time because it's funny and it's fun. It fits the Wario character. And it's so unnecessary, but just makes the game feel like more to me. Without this part of this manual in the box, I don't know. Like, Wario World might be a lesser game to me. And that's weird to say, but it's true. And that's why I think there is a lost art to video game manuals. I think video game manuals are a lost art form that I would like to see return, but we won't. Because it seems like companies soon probably won't even have a lot of physical releases anymore. Physical releases, I mean, I know I mostly buy games digitally now. So it's like, why am I bitching if I'm buying all my games digital? I'm bitching because I'm old and I'm nostalgic for a time in my life where a stupid piece of paper and a video game box mattered to me.